What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, as everybody knows as of now, all the Lions fans, all the NFL fans know, the Detroit Lions have officially signed their new general manager. It happened this past Thursday as the Detroit Lions organization and Brad Holmes agreed to a 5-year contract for him to come in and be the next general manager of the Detroit Lions. Now, a lot of people are mixed on this. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions. I've seen a lot of positive. I've seen a lot of negative. I've seen a lot of love and a lot of hate already for our new general manager. And I wanted to go evaluate Brad Holmes. Look at his strengths. Look at why the Detroit Lions had hired him. Look at what he brings to this team as the general manager. And overall, kind of go over an evaluation of our new general manager, go into a deep dive, and really get to know the guy that will be building this franchise for the next 5 years and for the next half decade, at least. Now, before we get into talking about Brad Holmes and his strengths and why the Detroit Lions chose to hire him as the next general manager, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes 2 seconds out of your day to do so. Helps the channel out more than you could know. I'd be super appreciative for it. Both all that being said, and without any further ado, let's get into evaluating Brad Holmes, the new general manager for our Detroit Lions.
Lions fans, hello. This is Brad Holmes, new general manager for the Detroit Lions. Excited to get to work. Looking forward to building this team with a collaborative approach and efforts to deliver a winner to this great city of Detroit, this passionate fan base, and to uplift the community. One pride.
Now, looking at Brad Holmes, I want to go back to where he began. I want to go back to where he first got his first big job, and that's kind of how I'm going to evaluate him with his time with the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, that's kind of how we have to do it because we don't have anything to evaluate him with for the Lions. Now, Brad Holmes became the director of college scouting for the Los Angeles Rams in the year 2013, and the Rams have had a lot of success since 2013. They were kind of a behind the scenes, kind of a lower down franchise, a forgotten franchise, and a franchise in the 2013 season that was looked upon as kind of a cellar dweller, looked upon as kind of a bottom team in the NFL. And obviously, since then, they've been to a Super Bowl, they've been to numerous playoffs. They've been in the playoffs numerous times. They're still in the playoffs right now, set to take on the Green Bay Packers this weekend. They have improved tremendously since the 2013 season, and Brad Holmes has had a lot to do with it, as I said, being the director of college scouting for this team. Now, since 2013, the Los Angeles Rams have improved tremendously, and a lot of their success has come through the draft and finding very good prospects to take in, develop, and to have them become the faces of the franchise. Since 2013, the Rams have been very successful when it comes to drafting. They drafted Tavon Austin, Alec Ogletree, Aaron Donald, LaMarcus Joyner, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Gerald Everett, Cooper Kupp, John Johnson, Samson Ebukam, Taylor Rapp, Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, and Van Jefferson, just to name a few. Since the year 2013, when Brad Holmes took over as the director of college scouting for the Los Angeles Rams, the Los Angeles Rams have drafted 25 Pro Bowlers in just 8 seasons. That is more than 3 Pro Bowlers on average per draft. They drafted the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2015 in Todd Gurley. They drafted the 2017 Offensive Player of the Year in Todd Gurley. They drafted the 2014 Defensive Player of the Year in Aaron Donald. They drafted the 2017 and 2018 Defensive Player of the Year in Aaron Donald. They drafted a member of the All 2010s team in Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, as many people know and as many people believe, is the best player in football right now. They believe he is the best player in the NFL, pound for pound, position for position, talent-wise. Aaron Donald, by most people's views, is the best player in the NFL right now. They drafted 25 Pro Bowlers in 8 years. He has drafted very well for himself. I mean, if you are going to bring in a guy and his specialty is scouting, Brad Holmes has a better resume than just about every other candidate out there. I mean, 25 Pro Bowlers in 8 years. Multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards, multiple Offensive Player of the Years, 2 different Rookie of the Years, a member of the 2010 All 2010s team. I mean, you cannot ask for much more out of Brad Holmes. I mean, if you're looking for a guy to draft your franchise to success, if you're looking for a guy to get players, get values, and have these players succeed at the next level in the NFL, Brad Holmes has an incredible track record. I mean, Aaron Donald is the face of the NFL as far as defensive players. You got Jared Goff, who is not the best quarterback, but is definitely a very capable quarterback when it comes to throwing the football, when it comes to arm talent, when it comes to talent. He is very serviceable, and obviously was a big part of why the Rams were able to make the playoffs this year and in years past. Obviously, Jared Goff is a two-time Pro Bowler, but I mean, that number of 25 Pro Bowlers in 8 years is incredible. That is a really, really good number. That is a very high bar to set for anybody, and you know, Brad Holmes absolutely crushed it. I mean, pretty much every draft pick he hits out of the park and is very good at drafting and finding talent both early in the rounds, both early in the draft, as well as in later rounds and later in the draft. I mean, you got guys early like Donald and Gurley, but you have some later guys in the draft like Darrell Henderson. You have guys some later in the draft like maybe a John Johnson, who are very good contributors, guys that are going to be on your football team and be good for your team for quite a while. Maybe not be the face of the franchise, but guys that are going to show up nonetheless every day and make your football team better. Brad Holmes is a phenomenal drafter, and I think that's why the Lions drafted him. They've had a struggle, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and especially in the early rounds as of recently, finding those key defensive players, finding those key guys that are going to be the face of your franchise. I mean, we drafted Jarrad Davis in 2016. You know, he hasn't really turned out to be the player we wanted him to be. You know, we drafted Jelani Tavai in the second round. Hasn't really been the player we wanted him to be. We drafted Teez Tabor in the second round in 2016. Wasn't really the guy we wanted him to be. You know, we drafted Will Harris in the third round. Never really developed into a great defensive player. That is not going to happen under Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes knows what he is doing. Brad Holmes is far more qualified and far better at evaluating and drafting talent both in the early and the later rounds than Bob Quinn ever was and ever will be. I'm not saying Brad Holmes is I'm not saying he's a perfect GM. I'm not saying Brad Holmes is the best GM candidate available, but he's a very good one. And if you're a Lions fan and you're looking for a GM that knows how to draft and knows how to get a ton of value and knows how to evaluate talent better than just about everybody else in the NFL, Brad Holmes is your guy. Again, 25 Pro Bowlers in 8 years, which is an insane number by itself, but if you look at that number with some more context, it's even more impressive, as the Los Angeles Rams have not had a first-round pick in the past 4 seasons. The Rams, since 2016, have not had a first-round draft pick, and they still have drafted 25 Pro Bowlers. You know, they have still drafted a ton of that. There have been a couple drafts where they didn't have their second-round pick either. Like, even with very limited capital, even with very limited and very late draft picks, Brad Holmes is still incredibly successful. And when he does get that first-round pick, he drafts an Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year caliber guy. I mean, when he has a first-round pick, he has had 4 first-round picks as the director of college scouting. 50% of the time, he gets an Offensive or Defensive Player of the Year. That is how good he is in the first round. I mean, obviously maybe a small sample size, sure, but I mean, in 2 of his 4 first-round draft picks, he drafted Todd Gurley and Aaron Donald, both of whom went on to win a Rookie of the Year their rookie year, and both of which went on to win their respective side of the ball award of the year, obviously Offensive or Defensive Player of the Year. You know, both players are iconic franchise players in the first round, and Brad Holmes hasn't had the opportunity to use a first-round pick in 4 years. You don't think he's going to make the most of it this time? You don't think with the number 7 overall pick in the NFL draft, Brad Holmes is going to hit on somebody special? I do. Brad Holmes has done it every time. Every time he makes a draft pick, it becomes a good player. I think I read a statistic somewhere that out of everybody that Brad Holmes has drafted, out of everybody that he has evaluated and had the Rams draft, 3 of the drafted players that he took in the NFL draft are no longer in the NFL. 3 out of all the players, all 8 seasons, all 8 draft classes, 3 players in the entirety of that group of players that he drafted, the entire group of players that he put in this Rams organization, 3 of them are out of the NFL. That is a very good margin for a talent evaluator. That is a guy, and that shows me that he is very good at his job. He evaluates talent incredibly well. He knows exactly what he's doing in the draft. He knows exactly where teams' needs are. He knows exactly how to evaluate talent. He knows exactly the things to look for that maybe some other people don't look for. And the more I look at Brad Holmes' drafting ability, the more I really like this hire as the general manager. You know, he is a little unproven. Yes, he's never dealt with contracts. He's never dealt with trading. He's never done any of that. And that could be slightly concerning to some people. But if you look at the reason he was brought in and you look at the strengths and the reasons he was brought in to draft this team to success. And based off everything that I have seen, he is going to do so with flying colors, and he is going to pass this test. He is going to exceed expectations with flying colors every single year and and give it a couple years, give it 2-3 years down the line, we're going to have a ton of drafted players that are being successful. We're going to have a ton of players, a ton of people in this organization that were drafted by Brad Holmes that are going to be good, franchise-changing players that will set this team on the right track to become the next great team. I mean, I talked about this a couple days ago. You look at all the great teams in the NFL, they draft their way to success, and finding a general manager that not only can evaluate talent very well, but get very good value out of just about every draft pick you can have, and just about every draft pick that you do have is a very important quality in a general manager. And now we have a guy that can do absolutely that. I'm going to mention this number again because it's an impressive and incredible number. 25 Pro Bowlers in 8 years. The Lions have drafted 8 Pro Bowlers since 2003. The Lions, in almost double the time, have less than half the Pro Bowlers that Brad Holmes drafted. That puts in perspective exactly how much better Brad Holmes as the GM is than what we've been dealing with for the past 2 decades almost. Brad Holmes is the best talent evaluator that the Lions have had in their organization since the early 2000s at the very least. Brad Holmes is the best candidate out there available when it comes to, obviously a record, a production, a, standpoint of we've seen what you can do. If you look at all the different candidates out there, Brad Holmes is the most proven in the fact that he can draft players. Brad Holmes is the most experienced and the most proven when it comes to getting value and getting talent and evaluating said talent in the draft. And I don't think talent evaluation just comes from the draft either. I mean, talent evaluation, yeah, he was the director of college scouting, and his whole thing with the Rams was, I'm going to scout college players, but talent evaluation goes a long way in the NFL as well. You look at free agency, you look at the talent you have to evaluate on the current team. I mean, he is very good at evaluating talent. He's very good at finding what players do well, very, very good at finding players that can be key pieces to an organization, even if it doesn't seem to be so at the time that he makes his decision. He is an incredible talent evaluator, and that is the biggest thing and the biggest quality a general manager needs. If you're a general manager and you can evaluate not only college talent to bring to the NFL and bring to your organization, not only free agent talent and evaluate the free agents that are available to bring to your team and improve it as an organization, but also be able to evaluate the talent on your team that you currently have to work with and kind of weed out the players that you don't need and weed out the players that you can live without and really build around this core set of players. On offense, you got Ragnow, Decker, Galladay, Swift, and Hockenson. Those are your 5 on offense that you can build around. If he can identify that and build around those players and maybe weed out and get rid of some of the players that are replaceable, that's going to make this team better. If you look on defense, right? I mean, you got obviously John Pennicini who you can build around. You got Tracy Walker who you can build around. You got Jeff Okudah who you can build around. There are some key pieces on defense, obviously less than the offense, but there are a couple key guys here and there on the defense that you can build around as your cornerstone players. And I believe Brad Holmes has the ability and has the track record to show me that he is going to evaluate that. He is going to see that on paper. He is going to see that on film. He's going to see that on and off the field, and he's going to make the best decision possible for this team. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's just the director of college scouting. How is that going to translate when he has to make contract negotiations? How is that going to work when he has to deal with free agents that he's never watched before? Talent evaluation does not just look at college athletes. What Brad Holmes did with LA did only look at college athletes, but those skills can transition to other areas of expertise. If you can find something in a college athlete that you like, you can find those same traits in NFL veterans. So from that standpoint, I think he'll be a very good talent evaluator all around. He'll be good with the draft. He'll be good with free agents and their contracts. He'll know exactly what the worth of every single player is. And I think we're going to see less bad contracts than what we saw with Bob Quinn. You're going to see that with the current talent on the roster. And if Brad Holmes cuts somebody, if he wants to get rid of a player or if he brings in a certain player, you better believe Brad Holmes sees something special in that particular player or sees something that he can't work with in the players that he decides to get rid of this offseason. Because from everything that I've seen, Brad Holmes is an incredible talent evaluator, and that's why the Lions drafted him. That is his specialty. His specialty is evaluating talent for this team, and that's exactly what what you want in a general manager. You know, he might not be the most experienced guy out there. He might not be the greatest general manager prospect you've ever seen, but this is a guy who, ever since he entered the NFL as an intern for the Los Angeles Rams, he wanted to be a GM. He's worked his way up. He's proven his way up. I mean, he's done everything right this far. He's worked his butt off. He has had the determination for 18 years to work his way up through an organization and now obviously become the general manager of a different organization. He's worked his butt off. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he needs to do for this team to be successful in Detroit. And from everything that I've seen, there is no evidence to suggest that Brad Holmes will fail. There is no evidence to suggest that he won't be able to evaluate the talent in the draft, in free agency, and on the team. And there's no reason for me to believe that he can't make this team better and make this team and put this team in a position to win very, very soon. You know, as far as a grade for this pickup, I think it's an A-. You know, I think the only reason it's not an A or an A+ is because the little bit of lack of experience at the general manager position. But if you look at why he was brought in and you look at what his job as a general manager is, his job is to evaluate talent. His job is to get talent in the building. His job is to make this team better player by player. And everything that I've seen from Brad Holmes, everything that he did with the Los Angeles Rams, put the Rams in a better position to succeed, both from the draft, both from evaluating talent on the roster. Everything that he did with the Rams made the team a better organization. And now we see the Los Angeles Rams, the #1 scoring defense in the NFL, a absolutely loaded roster, a roster that was in the Super Bowl just a few years ago, a roster that's just a few years removed from a Super Bowl contention. You know, you look at Brad Holmes and you might not like the hire because he's never been a general manager. He's never been an assistant general manager like Ed Dodds. But if you look at his ability to evaluate talent, he might be one of the better candidates out there when it comes to doing so. So with all that being said, I really like this hire, and I think this was the right hire. I think the Lions did everything they could. I believe they said they interviewed about 12 or 13 different general manager candidates. They got all this different perspective, all these different looks at all these different prospects and all these different candidates, and they made an educated decision. They made a decision not based off need, not based off panic, not rushing the situation, not rushing the issue. They took their time. They evaluated 12 or 13 different candidates for the job, and in the end, they decided that Brad Holmes was the best. And overall, looking at his body of work, I can see exactly why the Lions hired him. I can see exactly why we went after Brad Holmes, maybe over another guy like Rick Smith, maybe over another guy like Ed Dodds, who I'm not even convinced is going to be a real general manager anytime soon. You know, I think Brad Holmes was one of the better general manager candidates available, and I think the Lions truly made a very good, very educated, you know, they were calm, cool, collected. They made a very information-based decision. They interviewed him twice. They got everything they needed to know. They interviewed everybody else, and because of all that, because of all the time they spent, because of all the effort, you know, everything that they did in the interviewing process was right. And with that being the case, they made the best decision possible, and they got probably the best guy available. You know, a lot of people are going to say Ed Dodds was the best general manager candidate available. I'm not even convinced he would have taken the job. I'm not even sure how much longer he would have been in contention before he's like, yeah, well, Robert Saleh's not going to be here. I'm dipping. I am leaving. I'm not going to be a part of this organization. Ed Dodds, to me, I think he is going to go to a very select situation, and for me, that situation doesn't exist for him this season. So Brad Holmes was probably the best option for general manager candidates, and for me, he was by far the best when it comes to evaluating talent. Now, with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. That was kind of my evaluation on Brad Holmes. That is, in my opinion, is why we hired him. And in my opinion, I do believe he will be successful. I do believe he will put this team in a better position. And I do think he will put this team in a position to be very competitive in not that far of the future. You know, I look down the road. Next year, I think he can get a lot of things installed. I think he can bring in a lot of good guys. I'm not sure what the record will be next year because our schedule is very rough. Obviously, first-year head coach, maybe a first-year offensive and defensive coordinator as well. I'm not sure how all that's going to work out, but with that being said, you know, next year might be a wash. Next year, you can kind of cross off, you know, we're going to watch it for the improvement. We're going to watch it for, you know, what kind of system is he implementing. But come 2022, this team will be competitive if Brad Holmes is able to do what he did in Los Angeles. Come 2022, this team will have a very solid foundation with a lot of very good players surrounding the organization and surrounding their second-year head coach. I mean, Brad Holmes has put the Rams in a very good situation for a very long time to come, and I believe he will do a very similar thing with not only the college prospects, not only with the draft prospects, but with the entirety of the roster for many years to come. Now, with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Again, that was my evaluation on Brad Holmes. I really like this hire. The more I look at it, the more I love this hire, and the more I really like Brad Holmes being our general manager. Let me know in the comments your opinion on Brad Holmes. I'd be very curious to see what you think about the hire. I'd be very curious to see your guys' standpoint on the question and on the hire as a whole. With all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If there is more Lions content, if there is Lions content before tomorrow, I will obviously make a video letting every single person know. But until then, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all tomorrow with a Detroit Lions talk, our first Detroit Lions live stream. I hope you guys can show up. Hope you guys can come and ask questions. Have a fantastic time talking Lions football for a little bit. I will be going live, I believe 1 p.m. tomorrow. I'll have to double check the time. It's somewhere around there. It's 1 p.m., noon, something around that. So if you could show up, be there, come ask questions, come hang out with me, talk some Lions football, I'd be super appreciative for it. I look forward to seeing everybody there. But with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all tomorrow with more Lions content. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.